There's a lot of buzz online right now, especially on Twitter, about people getting priced out of XRP. I see it constantly, and many of you have asked me directly, Sensei, what price will it actually be when we're officially priced out? I decided it was time to really dig into the numbers and get to the truth, based on hard data. So I took a closer look at how much people are actually investing in crypto across different countries, including the US, Canada, Australia, Japan, South Korea, the UK, India, Mexico, Brazil, and Amsterdam. The goal? To figure out when people in each region might realistically be priced out of owning XRP. I've gathered all the important information you'll need in this video. If you find this content helpful, please take a second to hit that like button. It really helps me know what topics you enjoy, and I'll create more just like this. You can also support the channel by subscribing, leaving a comment, or sharing the video with someone in your life who's curious about XRP. Every little bit helps the channel grow, and I appreciate you for being here. Let's be real, there's a growing concern that XRP won't stay affordable for much longer. Experts like Edward Frito say 95% of investors may soon be priced out. Attack, who's a well-known banking analyst, has warned that XRP's current price level won't last, and retail investors could get left behind. So the idea of being priced out isn't just speculation, it's a real conversation happening across the community. That's why I wanted to understand what priced out actually looks like, based on real investment trends from country to country. To do that, I analyzed how much the average person in each of these countries invests in cryptocurrency. I wanted to pinpoint that tipping point, the price at which most regular investors might say, this is too much, and look for other options. In the US, for example, everyday people, not the top 1%, invest roughly $7,500 to $8,000 per year in crypto. That gives us a good benchmark for what might be considered affordable versus out of reach. Then we look at Canada, and this one surprised me. According to 2023 data, the average crypto holding in Canada was around $83,000. That number seems high, so I double-checked the source. It could be based on specific groups or surveys, but either way, it shows that Canadians are investing big in crypto, which shifts their priced-out threshold higher than most. This data is coming straight from an official crypto asset survey conducted by the Ontario Securities Commission, which adds a lot of credibility to the numbers. It's clear that Canada isn't treating crypto like a passing trend. They're taking it seriously, and it's encouraging to see that level of attention. Shifting over to Australia, the numbers vary quite a bit depending on age. Crypto investments there range from around $2,600 to $21,000 USD, with older age groups typically investing more. That makes sense. If you're over 50, you've likely had more time to save and are in a better position to invest larger sums. Now let's talk about Japan. While I couldn't dig up exact figures on crypto investments, I did find that the average household income is about $64,000 USD, or roughly 10 million yen. So while the crypto-specific data is limited, we at least get an idea of the general financial landscape. Moving to South Korea, this one stands out. XRP is actually the top cryptocurrency in the country. That's a big deal, and shows that Korean investors might see something others don't. The average crypto investment there is around $4,400, and it's safe to assume most of that is going into XRP, Bitcoin, or Ethereum. Over in Amsterdam, shout out to my editors Cass and Lawrence, it looks like the average crypto portfolio is between $1,200 and $1,400. That might seem small compared to other countries, but it's still great to see people getting involved in the space. Every step counts. In the UK, the data wasn't exact on average investment amounts, but what we do know is that about 9% of the population owns some form of crypto. That's nearly 1 out of every 10 people. So if you randomly ask 11 people on the street, odds are one of them will say, yes, I own crypto. India is a bit of a different story. The average investment size isn't clearly defined, but one major factor stands out: the country's 30% tax on crypto gains. That's a heavy burden, and it could discourage a lot of people from getting involved in the space. Some might look at the tax hit and decide it's just not worth the risk or effort, choosing other ways to invest their money instead. And finally, in Mexico the numbers weren't detailed, but here's something interesting. XRP makes up 10% of all crypto holdings on the BitSo exchange. That tells us there's strong interest in XRP specifically, even if broader investment data isn't fully transparent. In Brazil, while exact numbers aren't clear, capital gains taxes apply if profits exceed 35,000 Brazilian reals in a month. Based on the last conversion I checked, that's roughly $7,000 USD per month, since the exchange rate hovers around 5 reals to $1. Now stepping back and looking at the bigger picture, especially across developed countries, the average annual crypto investment per active investor typically ranges between $1,000 and $8,000. In countries like the US and Canada, that figure can be even higher. On the other hand, in emerging economies like India, Mexico and Brazil, the average investment tends to be lower, often around $1,000 per person. That's largely due to differences in disposable income. When everyday essentials cost more, people naturally have less leftover cash to invest in speculative assets like crypto. So a lot of this comes down to how much extra money someone has after covering the basics. Now let's talk about something important. What does it actually mean to be priced out of XRP? When we say someone is priced out, we're talking about a situation where the average person can no longer afford to buy a significant amount of XRP. That could be because the token's price has climbed too high relative to what they can spend, or because transaction fees and minimum purchase requirements have pushed it out of reach. We've already seen this happen in the crypto space. Take Ethereum, for example. During the last bull run, when it was still running on proof-of-work, gas fees soared. At times simple transactions would cost hundreds, sometimes even thousands of dollars. The same thing can still happen with Bitcoin. If the network gets overloaded, transaction fees can spike well into the thousands. As prices go up, we see a shift in how smaller investors approach the market. They move from buying whole units of coins to buying just fractions. With Bitcoin it's called Sat, short for Satoshi, and with XRP it's referred to as drops. It's a natural progression in any growing asset class, but it's also a clear sign that accessibility is shrinking for everyday buyers. Just like with Bitcoin, once the price of a single coin hits tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars, it becomes a playground mostly for the wealthy. Everyday investors can still buy fractions of a coin, but the experience isn't the same. That's why I get so frustrated when I hear people like Paul Hines, David Sachs and others in the crypto space constantly pushing Bitcoin as the solution for everyone. The reality is, with Bitcoin now priced over $100,000, a lot of regular folks are effectively priced out. And wasn't crypto supposed to level the playing field? Instead of making things fair, we're still seeing laws and narratives that favor the ultra-rich. It doesn't help XRP, or HBR, or Cardano, or Algorand, or Chainlink, many of which are US-based projects trying to create real utility. This is a huge issue.